All right, we'll say good morning. Let's begin. So today's daf is Megillah daf vav. Megillah daf vav. So we left off with Gufa. So we're 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Second one, thank you. Second wide line. Good. Yeah. Give me a little bit of slack. Just the second wide line. Gufa says the Gemara. Chizkiya kari b'Tiveria ba'arbeisar b'chameisar. Mesapkele imu kefes choma mimos Yeshua benun. Ilos. Remember again, we were discussing yesterday about Tiveria and whether or not Tiveria is considered to be a walled city or an unwalled city. Obviously, the ramification of which is which day do you end up going ahead and reading the Megillah. So the Gemara said yesterday that Chizkiya read on Tiveria on the 14th and the 15th because he was not sure if Tiveria was surrounded by a wall at the time of Yoshua ben Nun or not. Is there any suffix about the status of Tiveria? After all, the Haksiv, the pasuk says, "Va'ari mivtzar." Quoting over here the pasuk from Yehoshua, "Va'ari mivtzar." These are the walled cities. Hatzidim, Tzer, Chamas, Rekes, Vikineres. So the Gemara says, Rekes, Vikaimalon. So this is a list of just all walled cities. And we learn, we have a tradition, Vikaimalon, Rekes, Zo Tiveria. We have a tradition that the city of Rekes is the city of Tiveria. So you see from here that Lamaisa Tiveria is considered to be a walled city, to which the Gemara says, Hainu taima de misapkale. So why was it exactly that he was misupok? Mishum dechad gisa shura de mayahavas. Because Tiveria on one side is water. On one side, it totally faces the water. Ihachi amay misapkale. So his suffix was does facing the water on one side. And even if you're walled on the other three, does that make you a walled city or not? If that's the case, that's what his suffix is, that Tiveria is closed on three sides. And on the fourth side, technically it's also closed, but it's closed by the water. So the Gemara says, why is that a suffix? Vadai lav chomahi. I will say it is clear that water does not count as a wall. This sanya, because we learned in our brisa, asher lo choma. Both said Tov over here. Torah is talking about bate orechoma, houses in a walled city. So houses in a walled city have a different set of halachos when it comes to real estate purchases or real estate sales, the duration of them. So the Gemara says that in order to be considered a house in a walled city, it has to be a city that has a choma, velo shor igar, and not a wall of houses surrounding it. Velo shor igar saviv, prat leTiveria sheyama chomasa. So I'll say, for example, when the Torah says that a walled city has to have a wall, that comes to exclude, let's say, a city that is surrounded by a wall of houses, or for that matter, a city that has water as one of its walls. To which the Gemara says, so when it comes to whether or not Tiveria is considered to be a walled city in terms of real estate purchases, so that there's no suffix, meaning everyone will agree that in order to be a walled city, let's say for real estate purposes, lamaisa, you have to be actually walled on all ends. Ki kamasafkele. So when is there a suffix? Le'inyan mikra Megillah. The suffix comes up in terms of Megillah. Because we'll say why. What does the Megillah say? So the Megillah, when it discusses the cities that read the Megillah, so mentions two places. My prazim umay mukafin. Remember, the Megillah mentions prazim, unwalled cities, mukafin, walled cities. So the Gemara says, "My prazim, my mukafin dechsivi gabi mikra Megillah, mishum dahani miglu vahani lo miglu." So on one hand, we can say here's a distinction: a walled city is not revealed, is covered, is closed off, versus an unwalled city, which is miglu. It literally means revealed. If that's the definition of walled versus unwalled, then what? Vahanami migla. On one hand, again, this city of Tiveria is revealed. Why is it revealed? Because Lamaisa, again, on one side it faces the water, and therefore the city is fully visible, meaning its view is not obscured because of a wall. Therefore, it will be considered to be an unwalled city, and read on the 14th. The other possibility is Mishum Dahani Mignu Vahani Lo Mignu. Or maybe the difference between a walled city and an unwalled city is what Rabbi say in terms of protection. A walled city is one that is protected. An unwalled city is one that is not protected. And if that's the definition, Vahanami Migna. But Tiberia would also be protected, why Rabosai? Because again, being closed off by the water is also considered to be a form of protection. And therefore, because of this, Mishum Hachi Misafkele. So Rabosai, this is why Chizkiah was not sure what to do in Tiberia, not as much because he had a suffix, not because the suffix is in Tiberia, but the suffix is really in our definitions. What is the definition of a walled city? Is it a city whose view is fully obscured on all sides because it's surrounded by a wall? Or is it a city that is protected on all ends? The nafkamina would on every side. The nafkamina, the practical difference would be Tiberia, where it's not covered by a wall on all ends, but it is protected on all ends because one of its ends faces the water. So, go ahead.
What does the actual word mean?
Pras, city. City. So because of that, Chizkiah was not sure as to the definition. Because of that, he read on both the 14th and the 15th. So the Gemara goes weiter. Ravasi kari Megillah b'Hutzal, ba'ar beis mechamisar. Similarly, Ravasi read the Megillah in Hutzal. So Hutzal again is a place. He read it on the 14th and 15th. Misav kilei. He was, again, because the Gemara is just giving another example of a place in which there was a suffix as to what the identity of the city was. So he read on the 14th or 15th. He wasn't sure, was it surrounded by wall Tam of Yoshua ben Nun or not? Ikar da'amr, there's another version of this that says Amravasi Hai Hutzel de Beis Binyamin Mukefes Chumim Mos Yoshua ben Nuni. So we'll say two different versions of this episode. In version number 1, Ravasi wasn't sure about the status of Hutzel, therefore he read it on the 14th and 15th. In the second version, Ravasi makes a declarative statement that Hutzel was in fact surrounded by a wall at the time of Yoshua ben Nun, and therefore reads on the 15th. Okay. Amr Rabbi Yochanan said the following: Ki avina Talya. When I was a young man, it's interesting. Talya actually means like a young lamb. So I guess it was also used as a term for, Rashi says over here, Keshaisi Na'ar. When I was young, Amina Milsa Disha'alna L'Sabye. I had an idea of which I asked my elders, V'ishtachach kavasi, and it turned out that I was right. So Rabbi Yochanan said that when I was younger, I thought about something, I had an idea, and I said it over to people who were older and wiser than me, and they corroborated the truthfulness of my statement. And what did I say? I said, Chamas zu Tiberia. In fact, Chamas, Rabbosai, again, remember, going back to these cities that were quoted in the Pasuk, in Yoshua. So here you have Rabbi Yochanan suggesting that Chamos is really the Tiberia, same city, different names for the same city. Chamas. So why is it called Chamas? Al Shum Chame Tiberia. Because we'll remember, Tiberia was known, or still is known, for its hot springs. Therefore it's called Chamas for its hot springs. Rekes, the city of Rekes, Zu Tzipori, that is the city of Tzipori. Velama nikra Shma Rekes. So why was it called Rekes? Mishum de medalya kiraksa dinara, because it is raised like the bank of the river. Kineret, Zoginosar. The city of Kineret is the same thing as Ginosar. Velama nikra Shma Kineret. So why was it called Kineret? Dimatiki pera kekala de Kinari. So beautiful. So again, if it was really Ginosar, so why is it called Kineret? Right? I'm sorry. Right. So the Gemara says why? The matiki berry called the Kinari because the fruit of Ginosar was as sweet as the sound of the harp. So because of that, it was called Kineret from Lashon Kinar, from Lashon of harp. So beautiful. Amar Rava. Mi ikalamand amar rekes lav Tiberia. So Rava says, is there anyone who doesn't agree that rekes is Tiberia? Vaha, but yet we see kishachiv inishacha. When Rabbi say when a person dies in Bavel, and this is not just a person who is a Tam Chacham. When a Tam Chacham dies in Bavel, so what happened? Vaha kishachiv inishacha hasam saptile. There in Eretz Yisrael, they eulogize him in the following way. Godel b'Sheshach. He was great in Sheshach. Rabbi says Sheshach. Rashi says over here is Bavel. There's another name for Bavel. V'shem lo berekes, and he established a name for himself in Rekes. In Rekes, which again they understood to be referring to Tiberia. V'chimaski arona lahasam, and when they bring the casket from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, sapti lehachi, they would eulogize him in the following way: Ohavei siririm, those who love the Jewish people, that Rashi translates Tzvirim as Klal Yisrael. Yoshvei Rekes, those who live and dwell in Rekes. Tzu'u v'kiblu haruge omek, go out and receive those who were killed literally in the Omek, in the valley, which again is a reference to Bavel. Kinach nafshed Rabbi Zera, when Rabbi Zera died, Pasach Allahu Saptana, a certain person was eulogizing, began saying the following: Eretz Shinar Hara V'Yalada, the land of Shinar, which again is a reference to Bavel, literally bore and gave birth to this person, a reference to Rabbi Zera. Rabbi Zera was born in Bavel, and what happened? Eretz Tzvi Gidla Sha'ashu'eha, and literally the land of the Tzir. We'll say Tzvi in this context means the beauty. The beautiful land raised him and he became its delight. And we'll say, so it's interesting over here, just historically, Rabbi Zera was born in Bavel, but then he made Aliyah. He lived in Eretz Yisrael. So when they eulogized him, so they said again, he was carried and birthed in Bavel, but ultimately again the land of beauty raised him. Such a beautiful, like the land of beauty, Eretz Yisrael raised him. Oy na la, Amra Rekes, ki avda kleichem dasa. Woe to you, Rekes, because you have lost the instrument of your beauty. So I'll say all of this is just being brought down to demonstrate the idea that Rekes is in fact Tiveria. That's all it's doing, it's just supporting that idea. Ela Amar Rava, Chamas zu chame. Grar. Rather, again, so we'll say another version. So according to this version, Hamas is Chame Grar. So again, Chame Grar is a place. Rekes zu Tiveria. Kineres zo Ginosar. Rekes is Tiveria. Kineret is Ginosar. V'lama nikra shma Rekes. So we'll say, why is it that Tiveria is called Rekes? Sha'afilu rekanen sheba melayin mitzvos karimon. We'll say, such a beautiful idea. So why is Tiveria called Rekes? Because again, even the emptiest ones, meaning even the simplest people in Tiveria, were filled with mitzvos like the seeds of a pomegranate. So that's why, again, Rekes is a play on the word Rimon. Okay? Rabbi Yirmiyah says, Rekeshma. In fact, the real name of the city is really Rekes. See, up until now, we've assumed that the real name of the city is Tiveria, but Rekes was just a descriptive name. And now, Rabbi Yomi is suggesting just the opposite. Rekes is its formal name. So why is it called Tiveria? Sheosheves b'tibura shel Eretz Yisrael. Because it sits in the center of the land. Rava Amar says, Rekes Shma. In reality, again, it's called Rekes. V'lama nikra Shma Tiveria. Why is it called Tiveria? Shetova Re'iyasa. Because again, it looks beautiful and it has a beautiful view. Amar Zeira. Kitron Zotzipori. Kitron, that is the city of Tzipori. Velama Nikra Shma Tzipori. So why is it called Tzipori? Why do we call it Tzipori if its real name is Kitron? Sheoshevesh Baro Shahar Kitzipor. Because it sits perched on top of the mountain like a bird. The Kitron Tzipori. Is that true that Kitron is Tzipori? V'ha Kitron Bechelkon shel Zvulun havi. But Rabbi say we know that Kitron was part of the tribal portion of Zvulun d'chsib, because the pasuk says Zvulun lo horish es Yoshvei Kitron ves Yoshvei Nahalol v'Zvulun uzvulun Misraim amidosav hava. So we'll say, listen to this. So the pasuk in Shoftim says that Zvulun did not go ahead and conquer those who lived in Kitron, and the ones who dwelled in Nahalol. Now that's the end of the pasuk. And then the Gemara says, Uzvulun Misraim al Midosav. Zvulun, we know, they were not happy. Zvulun, we'll say in the singular, Zvulun was not happy with his lot in Eretz Yisrael. Shene Emar, because the pasuk says, he quotes over here now the pasuk from Shoftim, Zvulun am cheref nafsho lamos. The Rabbi say what this pasuk actually means is that Zvulun was willing to fight to the death. Zvulun was willing to fight to the death. The way the Gemara homiletically interprets this pasuk is Zvulun am cheref nafsho lamos, which means Zvulun shamed its soul to death, meaning that Zvulun was very ashamed of the tribal portion it received. Matam, why was Zvulun all upset about the tribal portion it received? Mishum de Naftali amiro mesada, because Naftali received the best fields. So we'll say, what is Zvulun upset? Listen to this. Amar Zvulun with Yaakov Baruch Hu. Zvulun said to God, Ribono shel olam, Kadosh Baruch Hu, la'achai, to my brothers, Nasati lahem sados ukramim. You gave my brothers fields. You gave my brothers vineyards. Velina sati harim ugvos. And to me, you gave mountains and valleys. La'achai nasati lahem aratzos. To my brethren, you gave land. Velina sati yamim unharos. And to me, you gave seas and rivers. Amarlo, so what does Chalash Baruch Hu say? So Zvulun is upset, Rabosai, because again, he just doesn't have massive tracts of land. He has a lot of mountains, a lot of valleys, and a lot of water. So what's going on with this? So listen to this. This is so beautiful. Amarlo, Chalash Baruch Hu says to Zvulun, Kulan tzrichen lecha al yedei chilazon. Everyone's going to need you. Why, Zvulun? Because only in your waters will you find the chilazon. Remember again, the chilazon is the snail-like creature from which they produce tchelas, the dye for tzitzis. Obviously, everyone needs the dye for the tzitzis, and the chilazon is only found in the waters of Zvulun. Shne'amar usfune timuni chol. Tani Rav Yosef, what does that mean? What does that mean when over here he quotes the pasuk usfune timuni chol? Tani Rav Yosef, safuni ze chilazon. So safuni, that refers to the chilazon. Timune zotaris. I will say, what is timune taris? Look at Rashi. This is amazing. Taris, dag shekorin tunina, tuna. Right? Apparently, again, so tuna was very common in the waters of Zvulun. Chol, what does it mean? Sand. Zichuchis levana. It refers ultimately to white glass. That apparently the sand by the beaches of Zvulun was very high quality sand, and they were able to make what's called white glass, which was a very expensive type of glass. Amar lefanav Ribbono shel olam. Mi modi'eni. I'll say, listen to this. So Zvulun says, Ribbono shel olam, thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that you made my waters filled with tuna and with chilazon. Only one problem. People will just come and take it on their own. Right? Meaning, how do I, essentially what Zvulun is asking really is, which is good kasha, how do I know that I'm going to cash in on this? Right? At the end of the day, it's very nice that it exists, but what's going to stop the poachers from coming along and taking whatever they want? How do I know that I'm really going to cash in on this? Amrullah, meaning mi modin, literally means who is going to tell me if others take this without paying for it? Amrullah, listen to this. He quotes the pasuk, Sham yizbichu zivchei tzedek. Simon zeh Yehilecha, you'll have this sign. So Chishbal says, Zvulun, anyone who takes from you without paying for it will not benefit in any of their business transactions. Meaning that people will realize that if they want to be able to be economically successful, they're going to have to pay you for anything they take from your waters. Okay. And if you say that Kitron, remember, so now what we've established is that Kitron is part of Zvulun's tribal area. Now, if you say that Kitron is Sipori, Amai Misraim Amidosov, why would Zvulun complain about having Tzipori? V'ha hayot Tzipori milsa da'adifa tuva. Tzipori is an incredible place. V'chitema delespe zvas chalav udvash. Maybe you'll say that Tzipori does not flow with milk and honey. Well, that's not true. V'hamar Reish Lakish said, L'didi chazili zavas chalav udvash de Tzipori. I have seen how the city of Tzipori flows with milk and honey. V'hav yeshisha asar mil al shisha asar mil. And there are literally rivers of milk and honey, 16 mil by 16 mil, that flow through Tzipori. We'll say, obviously, employing a bit of hyperbole here, but to make a point that Tzipori was considered to be a very lush and vibrant city. I may be able to say that even if Tzipori has a lot of chalav udvash, a lot of milk and honey, it's still not as good as the portion of his brethren. Rabbi Yochanan said, I saw the milk and honey of all of Eretz Yisrael. Ad Akra, the Tulbekani, and it flows literally from Mabikubi, that's a place, until Akra, until the port of Tulbekani. Esrin Vitartin Parsi, Orka, it is 22 parsos in length. Ufusya Shisa Parsi, and its width is 6 parsos. So I'll say, so what you see from here is, if that's the amount of milk and honey in all of Eretz Yisrael, then the amount of milk and honey in Sipori is a significant amount of that. So we'll say, keep track of the question. The question is that if you're going to tell me that Kitron is Sipori, then that means then Sipori is part of the tribal area of Zvulun, then why is Zvulun complaining to HaKadosh Baruch Hu about his portion? Because it appears that Sipori Tzipori was one of the lushest, most vibrant parts of all of Eretz Yisrael. Afilu Hachi said, no, you're right. Kitron is Tzipori, and it's lush, and it has the majority of milk and honey in Eretz Yisrael. Afilu Hachi Sados Ukramim Adifale. Nevertheless, Zvulun still wanted more fields and vineyards. You could be medayik in this because it says V'Naftali Amirome Sadeh. They will both say, what was Zvulun upset about? Zvulun saw Naftali with all of his beautiful fields. Shlamim Nabos say such an incredible yesod that sometimes the greatest challenge in life that prevents us from being happy with what we have is with the fact that we compare ourselves to others. Meaning, if we would just go ahead and look at our bracha in a vacuum, independent of others, we'd realize how much we have. It's true. It could be others have more, others have better, and sometimes, unfortunately, that prevents me from seeing my own bracha. So the Gemara's conclusion is, I don't really get it. Zvulun again, Lemaisa has Tzipori, which is probably the lushest city in Eretz Yisrael. He also has waters that are filled with tuna and chilazon, incredible sources of income. But at the end of the day, he looks over his shoulder, and what does he see? He sees Naphtali. He's got a lot of nice vineyards. And at the end of the day, that leads him to complain to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Very profound Gemara. So the Gemara says, "They cannot fight." Shmamina. Am Rabbi Avo. Ve'ekron. Now the Gemara quotes the pasuk from Tzefanya. Ve'ekron te'aker. Ekron will be uprooted. What is Ekron? Zu Kesari bas Edom. This refers to the city of Kesari, who is the daughter of Edom, Shehi Yosheves ben Acholos, that sits between the sands. Vihi Haisa Yosei Takua Yisrael b'Yimei Yevanim. And this city of Kesari was a constant, literally Yosei Takua means an embedded peg, like a thorn, to the Jewish people during the entire time of the Greek occupation. If you look at Rashi says over here the following. He says, Yosei Takua L'Ra'ah. It was a source of incredible difficulty during all days of the Ivanim. When the Chashmonaim went ahead and defeated the Greeks, Havkorin Osa Achidas Migdal Shir. They called it literally the captured city or the captured tower of song. So we'll say this refers again. There were, by the way, you should know, there were a number of cities called Kesari. So this refers actually to Kesari in Eretz Yisrael, which was the stronghold of the Greeks. But remember, again, there were Kesarias, right, all over the place, because Kesaria literally is a city name for the Caesars. So they were everywhere. That's why he calls it Kesaria Bas Edom. So listen to this. Amar Yossi Bar Chanina, Mai Dichsiv, Vasirosi Damav Mipiv, Vishikutsav Mibein Shinav. V'nishar gam hu le'elokenu. What's the meaning of the pasuk again in Zechariah? V'asirosi damav mipiv. I will remove the blood from the mouth. V'shikutzam mibein shenav, and the disgusting things from between the teeth. V'nishar gam hu le'elokenu, and he will be left for our God. What does that mean? So the Gemara says, V'asirosi damav mipiv. What does it mean? I will remove the blood from the mouth. Zeh beis bamya shalahem. That refers to their home of Avodah Zarah. The Baruch Hu is saying, I will destroy the places of Avodah Zarah that the Gentile nations have created in Eretz Yisrael. V'shikutzav mibein shinav, the disgusting things from between the teeth. Ze beis galia. Rabbi say, so beis galia was a specific type of idolatry. Ze beis galia shelahen. V'nishar gam hu le'elokenu. But yet again, that which is for God will be left. Elu bate knesios ubate midrashos sheba Edom. I will say that as much as HaKadosh Baruch Hu will destroy the Avodah Zarah of Edom, yet, interestingly enough, the shuls and the bate midrash that we have established in Edom will endure. V'hava quotes over here now the pasuk from Zechariah again. V'haya ka'aluf biYehuda ve'ekron ki yevusi. What does that mean? Elu Tratios v'karkasios sheba Edom. This refers, Tratios are the theaters or amphitheaters. Karkasios are the circuses that exist in Edom. Sha'asidin Sare Yehuda lilamed bahen Torah barabim. We'll say, listen to this. That when Mashiach comes, so the amphitheaters and the circuses, which again were areas that were used for large gatherings by the Greeks and then later on the Romans, and often were the place where incredible immoral activity happened. When Mashiach comes, they're going to be used for they're going to be used for Talmud Torah. I'll tell you, I thought about this Gemara during the Siyum Hashas. If you think about it, you want to see like the little taste of Mashiach. The little taste of Mashiach is, again, not Chas V'Shalom. These places are used for immorality. They're used for good sporting events. But the idea is you're taking these places that are used for like the most mundane things, and yet again they're housing incredible gatherings of Torah. Quite amazing to think about. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, you could save that vart for 6 years from now. Mirza Hashem, keep it, fold down the page. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. So again, Rabbi Yitzchak says the following: Leshem zu pamyas. So go over here now. The Gemara quotes, because the pasuk over here quotes actually Vayetik vul b'nei dan mehem vaya'alu b'nei adam vayalachamu im Leshem. Quotes the place Leshem. What's Leshem? So Rabbi Yitzchak says Leshem is pamyas. Ekron te'aker zu Kesari bas Edom. What does it mean? Ekron will be uprooted. That refers again to Caesarea of Edom. Now, both say, what does it mean, Caesarea of Edom? Listen to this: Shehi haisa metropolin shel malachim. That Caesarea shel Edom was considered to be a metropolis for kings. And again, both say this is Caesarea in Eretz Yisrael. It was Caesarea. Now, the truth is, I shouldn't say that. The truth is, this is Caesarea. When he says Caesarea of Edom, really what it means is Caesarea. It means Rome. It means Rome. So the Gemara says, because again, before the Gemara was also talking about Caesarea of Eretz Yisrael, but this is Caesarea bas Edom, is Caesarea of Rome. So the Gemara says, was a metropolis for kings. Ike de Amri, de Marbi ba Malchi. Some say that many kings live there. The Ike de Amri, de Mukmi mine Malchi. Others say that they appointed kings from there. The point is, it was a place for the elite. So the Gemara says, Kesar Yerushalayim. We'll say, if you have Kesari and Jerusalem, Im Yomer Lecha Adam Charvu Shtehen Al Tanos is very profound Gemara. If somebody tells you that both Kesari and Yerushalayim have been destroyed, Al Tamin, don't believe them. Yashu Shtehen. If somebody tells you that they're both dwelling peacefully, Al Tamin, don't believe it. Charva Kesari v'Yashu Yerushalayim. Somebody tells you Kesari was destroyed, Yerushalayim stands, or Charva Yerushalayim v'Yashva Kesari, or Chas Hashem Yerushalayim is destroyed, and Kesari stands. Ta'amin, that you can believe. Shene Emar, because the pasuk says, quoting over here from Yecheskel, Imal'o hacharava. Literally, I will go ahead and fill up the one that is destroyed. Imaleyazu, if this one is full, if this one is complete, Charevazu, this one is destroyed. Vimaleyazu, and if this one is complete, Charevazu, this one is destroyed. I will say, such a profound Gemara. Uvranachman Bar Yitzchak says from here, Ulaom milom ye'ematz. Literally, one nation shall be stronger than the other. A reference ultimately to when Rivka Imenu is told that she's carrying twins, and the news that she gets is they will be locked in constant struggle. So I will say, such an incredible insight. What the Gemara says is that the notion of the relationship between Yisrael to Edom, and remember again, Edom represents the world. So the relationship between Edom and Yerushalayim is, you know what? They're never at equilibrium with one another. If Yerushalayim is strong, then again Edom is weak. If Edom is strong, then Yerushalayim is weak. Such an incredible insight into the balance of power in the world. What's the meaning of the pasuk? Yuchan Rasha Ba'al Lamad Tzedek. So over here now the Gemara quotes the pasuk from Yeshayahu. Literally it means Yuchan Rasha. You give favor, you show favor or kindness to the wicked. Ba'al Lamad Tzedek, despite the fact that he does not learn righteousness. So what's the pshat here? Let's listen to this. Amar Yitzchak Ne'achadish Baruch Hu. Yitzchak said to God, Yitzchak Avinu, Ribono Shel Olam, Yuchan Esav, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should have compassion on Esav. We'll say, amazing. Only a parent, right? Only a parent can have compassion on an Esav, but Yitzchak Avinu is still Esav's parent. Have compassion on Esav. Amar Lo, Rashahu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, what are you talking about? He's a Rasha. Amar Lo, Ba'al Lamad Tzedek. So we'll say, listen to this. Yitzchak says something amazing. Look at Rashi for just a moment. Amar Yitzchak, Ba'al Lamad Tzedek, Kilomar, Ein Adam Yachol Lamed Alav Tzedek. Yitzchak Avinu says, Jesus Baruch Hu, God, does Esav not have one redeeming quality? Like, is there not something good you could find about him? He picks his laundry up off the floor. What? No, you heard that one. Good, right? So anything, right? Whatever it is there not something redeeming that you could find about him? Amar Lo, be'eretz nechochos ya'ol. Kadosh Baruch Hu literally says, in quoting the pasuk, Again from Yeshaya, Beres Nechol Hosiol, that meaning he's going to destroy Yerushalayim. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Yitzchak, I just want you to know, your son Edom will destroy Yerushalayim. Amar lo imkein bal yireh gavas Hashem, geos Hashem. If that's the case, Yitzchak Avinu says, let him not see the majesty of God. Meaning Yitzchak Avinu agrees, after hearing that Esav is ultimately going to go ahead and destroy Yerushalayim, punish him. Let him get what's coming to him. What's the meaning of the pasuk when it says again? The pasuk from Tehillim, Al Yitin Hashem Ma'avaye Rasha. This is amazing. Zimamo al Tafek Yarumu Sela. Listen to this. Excuse me. Literally, Al Yitin Hashem Ma'avaye Rasha. God, do not give the desires to the wicked, or do not fulfill the desires of the wicked. Zimama al tafak, literally, do not remove their nose ring. Yarumu sela. Amar Yaakov Nechalish Baruch. Listen to this. God, Yaakov says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono shel olam, al titain le'esav harasha ta'avas libo. Do not go ahead and give Esav the Russia the desires of his heart. Supposed to say, it's interesting. Yitzchak Avinu tries to plead for mercy for his son. Yaakov knows who his brother is from the outset. So please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, do not go ahead and give Esav the desires of his heart. Zimamo al tafel, say, get ready for this. Do not remove his nose ring. You ready for this? So what does it mean, do not remove his nose ring? Zu germania shel Edom. What does it refer to? Do not remove his nose ring. It's specifically referring to the nation of Germania. Now, also, you should know. So the Vilna Gaon comments on this Gemara, and he says he has a different gersa. He says it's not Germania. What is it? It's Germania. It's Germania. It's Germany. He says, this tribe of Germania. So Yaakov says, do not remember the nose ring. Just you should understand this. When you had a nose ring on an animal, so that kept the animal in submission. Holding on to that would keep the animal somewhat docile. Do not remove the nose ring from Germania. She'el male henyotzin, because if you remove the nose ring from Germania, machrivin kala olam kulo. They have the ability to destroy the world in its entirety. I want to say, you hear this? Absolutely amazing in the Gemara. In the Gemara, already a reference to the horrifically destructive power of Germania, of Edom. Amazing. Tragic. Rabbi Chanan Bar Chanina said, Tlas mea kitiri taga ika beGermania. We'll say Germania has 300 crown princes. I guess Germania was split up according to different chieftains, different kings, different smaller kingdoms. So it has 300 kings. Shal Edom, ika beGermania shal Edom. Utlas mea v'shisin v'chamisha merzavni ika beRomi. And there are 365 chieftains in Romi. Ubechol yoma, every single day, nafki hani la'api hani. So the chieftains of Rome go out to war against the kings of Germany. And what happens? Umaktil chad minayu. And one of the leaders is killed each day. Right? Somebody on each side is killed each day. Umatridi lo'ukmi malka. And Abba said this is a good thing. Why? Because apparently the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu set it up is that Germania and Rome are always fighting with each other. So because they're always fighting with each other, at least they tend to leave everybody else alone. And because one of the kings or one of the chieftains dies each and every day, it keeps them occupied with replacing those offices. V'amar Rabbi Yitzchak, listen to this, I'll say again. It's just amazing. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, I will say it's important Gemara to underline, to highlight, to put your bookmark on, Xerox cap, whatever you have to do. If a person says, I toiled, but I did not find, meaning I worked very hard, but I did not realize results, al ta'amin, do not believe them. Lo yagati umatzasi, if a person says, I did not try very hard, but I realized my results, al ta'amin, do not believe him. Yagati umatzasi, but if a person says, I toiled and I found, I reached my results, then ta'amin, then you can believe them. I'll just tell you again, it's interesting, the Gemara is not saying, remember, he doesn't say, Yagati v'hitzlachti, I put in effort and I succeeded. The Lashon is matzasi, that I found something positive came from this toil. So if a person says, I toiled, but I didn't get any positive results, It's not true. There's always positive results from the effort, from the toil. Might not get what you want, but there's always positive efforts. A person says, I got positive efforts, but I didn't toil. Any positive efforts that come to you without toil are not worth having. Or if a person says, I toiled, umatzasi, and I found positive results, then lemaisa, again, believe such an individual. But the Gemara qualifies this. Hani mili b'divrei Torah. Rabbi say this is true in matters of spirituality. Aval b'masa umata, when it comes to business, siyatohu min shmaya. Rabbi say, so business, that's divinely ordained. Meaning, there are plenty of people that make a lot of money and yet do not expend a lot of effort. And there are a lot of people who expend an incredible amount of effort, but yet, for whatever reason, are not matzliach. So when it comes to parnasa, this paradigm that we're expressing over here is a paradigm by ruchnius, a paradigm by spirituality. Parnasa, siyata d'shmaya. Furthermore, the divrei Torah, when we speak about Torah, lo amron ela lechadudi. I will say, when we say that again, yagati umatzasi, this paradigm that if you have to put in the effort and you will realize the results, that's only to understand things. Listen to this. Aval lo ukme girsa, but to remember things, siyata min shmayahi. I will say it's actually quite amazing. So, which we know. Again, memory is just something again that I could review and learn and try, but to remember something, that requires incredible siyata d'shmaya. It's beautiful. So Rabbi Yitzchak says, if you see a wicked person, literally says shasham means the hour is smiling upon him, or the hour is kind to him. Meaning, if you see a rasha who is being matzliach, you see a wicked person who is just having incredible life success, al tiskarebo. Literally, do not contend with him. Don't start up with him. Shene Emar, al tischar b'mereim. Because the pasuk in Tehillim says, al tischar b'mereim, literally, do not contend with those who engage in evil. Mereim is ra, those who are evil. For the old, you may see a wicked person, and yet, whatever he does is successful. Shene Emar, yachilu drachav b'chaleis. For the old, not only that, even the legal system is working with him. Shene Emar, moro mishpatecha minegdo. For the old, not only that, but this wicked person is able to overcome his enemies. Shene Emar, kol tzorah yafiach bohem. So also what the Gemara what Rabbi Yitzchak seems to be saying over here is that lemaisa, if you see a wicked person for whom everything is going right, it could be whatever reason that person's mazel is in a good place, don't start up with him. Don't start up with him. Ini, is that so that you shouldn't contend with a wicked person? Yet Rabbi Yochanan said it is permitted to contend with the wicked in this world. Shene Emar, ozvei Torah yahalalu resha, v'shomrei Torah yiskaru bam. Because not Russia. Because the pasuk in Mishlei says literally those who go ahead and leave Torah will themselves praise the wicked, but those who keep the Torah will contend with them. Rabbi, which what the pasuk seems to be saying is that lemaisa, when you see evil, or you see something bad happening, you see someone doing, you have to stand up. And if you don't go ahead and stand up, then by definition you are complicit with the performance of evil. Rabbi Dostai bar Masun Omar, Rabbi Dostai bar Masun said, it is permitted to contend, meaning to go ahead and combat the wicked in this world. Listen to this. Rabbi says, if somebody tells you not to contend with the wicked and not to go ahead and stamp out evil, somebody whispers that to you, just know, mi shelibo nokfo omer kain. It's only someone whose heart has betrayed him says that. I will say, this is an incredibly important yisod. You know, when we see something bad happening, so the reflexive response needs to be to do something about it. Now again, it doesn't, obviously different circumstances call for different reactions. Sometimes you do have to be quiet and wait till the right time. But what's interesting to note is that if I see negative things, and if it doesn't bother me, or if I see negative things and don't feel just that visceral hurt, or that visceral, not anger, but anger about seeing something wrong, then I will say it means that my own lave is numb. And this is a very important yisod. If evil, if negativity, if wrong doesn't bother me, then it's libo nokfo. It means that some level of right and wrong has eroded within my heart itself. So the Gemara says, Ella al tischar b'mereim. So therefore, according to Rabbi Dostoi, what does it mean? Do not contend with the wicked. Lios kimereim means don't be like the wicked. Ve'al tekane ve'osei avla, and literally don't go ahead and literally be jealous of those who perform the wicked. Lios ke'osei avla, to be like those who perform negative things. Ve'omer. So we'll say again, so which one is it? So on one hand you have Rabbi Dostai telling me that you should contend with the wicked. On the other hand you have Rabbi Yitzchak telling me that you should not contend with the wicked. So what's the pshat? To which the Gemara says, V'lo kasha, habamili didei, habamili dishmaya. It depends what the issue is. Rabbi say, if you see a wicked person who is having incredible mazel, and he has adversely affected your personal dealings, then it may be wise to hold your tongue for a little bit until his mazel changes. On the other hand, when it comes to spiritual matters, if you see something wrong occurring, you need to take a stand. I will say, obviously, a statement like this has to be understood in context, because you can't always take a stand immediately for a whole variety of reasons. But in a vacuum, when it comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's matters, that we have to be charif, we have to be sharp, we have to be willing to take a stand. Personal matters, if you see a bad person who is having a run of very good luck, it might not be the time to contend with him. The other possibility is, or you could even interpret both. Rabbi Desar Yitzchak is referring to my personal matters. V'lo kasha, habit tzadik gomer, habit tzadik sheina gomer. They both say, who should contend with the wicked? Only the tzaddik gomer. And who should not contend with the wicked? The person who is not a tzaddik gomer. And how to define those terms is an interesting discussion in and of itself. The Amar Ravuna says, "My dichsev lama tabit bogdim tacharish bebala rasha tzadik mimenu." We say here now the Gemara is quoting the pasuk. Gemara is quoting the pasuk from Chabakuk. Literally, lama tabit bogdim. Why do those who betray look on? Tacharish, everyone's silent. Bebala rasha tzadik mimenu. When the rasha goes ahead and swallows up the person who is a greater tzaddik than him. So the Gemara darshans this is very interesting. So tzadik mimenu. So rasha tzadik. Tzadik mimenu. Tzadik mimenu bolea. Tzadik gomer eino bolea. What do you see from here? The rasha is able to swallow up Pura Bosai, a person who is a tzaddik mimenu. What does that mean? So a person who's righteous, how is his righteousness measured? Because he's more righteous than the wicked person. So a person like that can be swallowed up by the wicked. However, again, a tzaddik gomer, which is a person not just of relative righteousness, but absolute righteousness, that person cannot be swallowed up by the rasha. By sema, or the other possibility is sha'a mishachekes lo shiny. That Rebbe say when somebody is just having good mazel, when somebody is just having a run of good luck, lemaisa, again, such a person simply should not be contended with. Okay, Amar Ula, Italia shal Yavan, Zekrach Godol shal Romi. Both say Italia shal Yavan, which literally means Italia sounds like Italy. The Italia shal Yavan, the Italia, which was originally of Greece, that is the largest city within the Roman Empire. V'havya tlasmea parsa al tlasmea parsa, and it is 300 parsos by 300 parsos. V'yeshpa shin samechei shukim, and has 365 marketplaces. Kiminyan yemosachama, like the days of the year. Of the solar year. The Kadan Shabakulim Shamochrovos, the smallest marketplace in all the marketplace of Italia Shal Yavan, is the one where they sell birds. The Havi Shisha Asamil Shisha Asamil, and even that smallest one is 16 mil by 16 mil. Umelech Soid B'Choyom Be'echamehen, and the king of Rome dines in one of the marketplaces each and every day. Vahadarba, and one who lives in Italia Shal Yavan, even though he was not born there, Notel Prasi Beis HaMelech is supported, literally receives a stipend from the palace. And someone who was born in Italia Shal Yavan, even if he doesn't presently live there, Notel Pras Mi Beis HaMelech also receives a stipend from the house of the king. Ushloshes alafim beit bani yeshbo, and there are 3,000 bathhouses in this city. V'chamesh me'os chalonos ma'alin ashen chutz l'choma, and there are 500 windows in the wall of the city that channel the smoke outwards. The idea is that the walls of the city do not become blackened by the smoke, which was a sign of chashivos. Tzido echad yam, on one side is surrounded by water. V'tzido echad harim ugvos, on one side it's surrounded by mountains and hills. Tzido echad mechitza shel barza. On one side it is surrounded by an iron wall. V'tzido echad chulsis u'metzula. And the other side is surrounded by literally pebbles as well as a swamp. Now I will say something amazing. Take a look at Rashi, Talia Shal Yavan. Rashi says over here, Krach Godol, Shegodol. So we'll say, Italia Shal Yavan literally is, so what was the capital city of Greece that ultimately was absorbed into the Roman Empire. Rashi here tells us, how was Greece? How did the empire of Greece come into being? This is amazing. Look at Rashi. He says, Bishvil Avam Menashe, Rashi says. Greece came into being because of the sin of Menashe. What did Menashe do? Menashe did something truly terrible in that he brought in an idol into the Beis Hamikdash. Meaning he wasn't the first king to introduce idolatry into the Jewish people, but he was the first king to actually introduce idolatry into the sacred precincts of the Beis Hamikdash. Listen to this. When Menashe did this, is amazing. Yorad Gavriel v'na'atz kalabayam. The Malach Gavriel came. He took a reed and he planted the reed in the sea. V'gadol alav chelka gadol v'nivna l'sham Italia shal Yavan. And I will say what happened. Sediment began to collect around the reed. That sediment became an island. And that island became Italia Shal Yavan. So he says, Me'eye Elijah in the Elysian Sea, Metargamina Minavos Italia. Well, say something amazing. So Greece came into being how? Greece came into being as a result of the sin of Menashe, which means that Klal Yisrael, we create our own enemies. Quite amazing. We create our own enemies. Through our actions, we created the empire of Rome. We created the empire of Greece, which ultimately, again, gave birth to the empire of Rome. Quite dramatic.